Clerk will call the roll.
Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy Seabrooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Andy H. Wynn, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invocation this morning will be delivered by Pastor Mark Wheeler from the Capstone Church in Fort Worth. Pastor, thank you for coming out today. Appreciate that. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges.
Good morning. Thank you. Let us pray. Father, I've been invited here this morning to intercede in prayer on behalf of this body. And Lord, that tells me that they have a sincere, heartfelt desire to have you present in today's proceedings. So Lord, accordingly I ask that you impart supernatural wisdom and insight upon Judge Whitley and all the commissioners and support staff. Lord, guide them, Lord, through the course of the day, and let your Holy Spirit be the prevailing wind, so that all that is done today is of you. Father, I speak a blessing over each and every person here today and all those that serve Tarrant County, Lord. Let them be richly blessed. Help them to put you first in the course of their business. And Lord, and I speak protection over our law enforcement officers and all those that go about the business of protecting us so that we can have the freedoms that we enjoy. And Father, we just thank you. And finally, we ask that your will be done today and your kingdom come. And we thank you for it in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Again, thank you, Pastor Wheeler, for coming out today. Thank you. Mr. Manius, agenda announcements.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have two announcements today as relates to the agenda. The first one is under Facilities Management. This is a consent item 9H3. This is change order number 2 for Basecom. There's been a revision on the funding code. Everything else within the communication is correct. Also, members of the Court, under purchasing item 9L1, this concerns the bid number 2012-052. There is a revised funding allocation that it's corrected in your electronic court books, and I believe Commissioner Johnson, you have a copy of the revised communication up at your desk also. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Court members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of February the 28th.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have several proclamations and certificates of appreciation today. So the first one that we have is for our March for Meals Awareness Month. I will read that into the record. I believe Ms. Denise Harris, the market coordinator, is here. Come on down and we'll read this into the record, and then we'll come down and present the resolution and then give you an opportunity to speak. Whereas Meals on Wheels, Inc. prepares and delivers meals to elderly and disabled persons who are unable to prepare meals for themselves. And whereas for the past 39 years, the citizens of Tarrant County have benefited from the delivery of over 15 million meals to our homebound neighbors. And whereas this organization has a volunteer force of over 5,000 persons who donate their time, vehicles, gasoline, and energy to deliver over 1 million fresh meals to Tarrant County residents annually. And whereas Meals on Wheels case managers make over 13,000 home visits annually to act as advocates for clients, and whereas no client is ever refused service because of inability to pay, and whereas these efforts have resulted in improvements in the lives of homebound and disabled in Tarrant County, with continued personal independence, daily visits by caring volunteers, well-balanced meals, and the assistance of professional case managers. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim the month of March 2012 as March of Meals Awareness Month in Tarrant County, in witness whereof we've heretofore set our hands and caused the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 13th day of March 2012, and I'll move its approval.
Second.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And I would also just, as I'm bringing this down, like to comment on the fact that we have a number of folks within Tarrant County that deliver meals every day on their lunch hour, and we appreciate very much the effort of all of our employees as they do that. I will look at the other camera and then this one will flash. See ya.
Judge Whitley, Commissioners, on behalf of Tarrant County and the over 2,400 people that we serve, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for the monies that we receive that make all these meals possible, from not just the Commissioners Court, but all over the Tarrant County. The support that we get from your office, from, like you said, all the employees that deliver on their lunch break. We just thank you so much for being an advocate for those who are not able to be an advocate for themselves. The people that we serve are a generation that won't ask. They won't occupy City Park. They won't picket and ask that they not be forgotten. So we appreciate you here today in support of March for Meals. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming out today. Commissioner Brooks, I believe you have a proclamation.
Yes, Your Honor, I do. I move ratification of a proclamation to be presented at a future date honoring Brian Newby, who has recently been appointed a Brigadier General in the United States Air Force, one of Tarrant County's favorite sons.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Commissioner Wynn, I believe you have a certificate of appreciation.
Yes, sir. Your Honor, would you please read it into record, please?
Presented to Victor Clark in appreciation for your dedication and leadership in services to the community as a member of Tarrant County Child Protective Services Board from 2008 through 2012, and our sincere thanks accompany this expression in recognition and gratitude. Is Mr. Clark here?
Victor, are you here?
Doesn't look like he was. We really want to bring up and thank those folks who spend a lot of time serving on our boards, especially this one that deals with the children of Tarrant County. You know, they do a great job, and we very much appreciate the work that they do.
We will present the certificate of appreciation to him another time.
He's moved.
I will move for approval, please.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And then Commissioner Wynn, I believe you have another
Yes, sir. Would you
resolution.
please read it into record as well? I know she's here.
Letta Azalea Gilbert. Whereas
Would you please move forward, ma'am?
when Leota Azalea Gilbert was born in Sapalua, that's not right. How do you pronounce?
Sapulpa.
Yeah, Sapulpa. That sounds right. Oklahoma on March 18, 1912. William Howard Taft was President of the United States. Oklahoma had been a state less than 5 years, and the Titanic tragedy had not yet happened, and American women had not yet been granted the right to vote. And whereas her mother was part Creek Indian and her father was part Cherokee, and she spent her early childhood in the Cherokee Nation before her family moved to Breckenridge, Texas. And whereas Leota moved to Arlington in April 1942 and worked at Texas Engineering and Manufacturing Company, where she took part in building and inspecting B-24 bomber aircraft, making her a real-life Rosie the Riveter. And whereas she worked at Timco for 32 years, during which time she met President Jimmy Carter before retiring and going into real estate. And whereas Leota had 4 children, 13 grandchildren, 32 great-grandchildren, and numerous great-great-grandchildren. And whereas she traveled and has visited such places as Mexico, England, France, Canada, and Colombia, her favorite book is the Bible, and she enjoys opera and music by Andrew Lloyd Webber. And whereas Leota is one of the first residents to move into Town Village, Arlington, when it first opened in 2001, where she remains a respected resident, beloved by everyone. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners' Court of Tarrant County, do hereby commend the lifetime accomplishments of Leota Azalea Gilbert, who has illuminated the lives of countless people in Tarrant County and beyond, and extend our congratulations on the celebration of 100 years of an extraordinary life. In witness whereof, we do hereby set our hands and cause the seal of Tarrant County to be affixed this 13th day of March, 2012.
I'll move for the approval, please.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. You want to take that down?
Ma'am, you told me earlier that they don't want you upstairs, nor do they want you downstairs. That's why you are stuck with us. I'm here to tell you that we are glad that you're here with us. Thank you.
We can grab that.
Now, if y'all who are taking the pictures want to come up here and take that way, then it'll be a lot easier, and she doesn't have to turn around. Commissioner, if she wants to say something, we can grab. And I'll pull that mic out there, and if she wants to say something.
Give up a word of wisdom, please.
Well, I don't know what to say. I'm really surprised. This is a real surprise to me, and I don't feel worthy of all this recognition. I just don't. I didn't know what was expected for me to do today. So I do appreciate this. I'm so glad that you did honor me with this.
Well, we appreciate very much you being here and for all that you've done for the community. And what, if you don't mind me asking, what over your lifetime do you think has been the biggest change you've kind of seen? Or
I think probably the main thing that stands out in my life is when my first baby was born. I thought that was the only baby in the world.
And so you've got a number of great-grandchildren as well as great-great-grandchildren.
I have 17 great-great-grandchildren, and I have one great-great-great, the 6th generation. I have one.
Wow.
Christmas time around your house must, or holiday times must be a big, there must be a lot of people there.
Oh, yeah. Always a lot of people. I have a lot.
Can you share with us?
Big family.
Ma'am, can you share with us your secret to longevity?
Staying away from the doctors.
That's great.
Yes. I don't see a doctor unless I really need him. I have a good doctor that I dearly love, and when I call for an appointment, I get in right quick because he knows I need him. I don't go unless I need him.
Ms. Gilbert, we appreciate very much you being here with us today, and congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Give it to him. He'll take care of it.
She can drive too, watch.
She does pretty good at that thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Think you live that long, Commissioner?
Thank you.
She's very healthy. Very upbeat.
No, come on down. I think you've got a presentation. Yes, I was a little
talking about-
behind this morning, a little
That's
slow.
okay. That was a great presentation. Congratulations to her. Good morning, members of the court. I would like to take some time to share a bit of good news from our office. In December, our Vital Records Department joined more than 415 local registrars at the 2010 Annual Vital Statistic Conference in Austin. At this conference, we were one of 19 local registrars who received the exemplary 5-star award. Annually, the state deploys unit area representatives to audit more than the 400 local registrars to ensure we're filing and issuing records in accordance with state statutes. This criteria for this particular award includes timeliness, improvement, training, and management registration in the Texas Electronic Registrar System. Highlights that helped us secure this particular award include the fact that we registered 95% of our birth records in the TR system within 1 business day, and that we were filing various records type electronically within a regional district and exceeded those expectations. And of course, our commitment to training that's offered by the state to make sure our staff is up to snuff on things. I would like to recognize our senior manager, Kelly Lawhorn, who has done an excellent job in leading our organization, and I want to thank our county clerk vital records staff. They're the ones that helped put this together. So out of over 415 people, we were one of 19. So I want y'all to be proud of your employees in Tarrant County, and Kelly and staff, thank you for such a great job. Thank you for your time.
Do I have a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
We're going to try and take a picture.
We get a picture. Kelly, congratulations. Thank you for your work.
To Kelly and Mary Louise, this is the kind of thing we've come to expect from Tarrant County departments. So you have to raise the bar even higher next year.
Oh, we are. We're working on it right now. No pressure.
No pressure, no pressure.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. And now we come to our employee recognition time of the month, and so most of y'all know the routine. When I call your name or what sounds like your name, and I mean that, please stand and remain standing until we finish that particular group, and then we'll recognize you for your service. We're going to begin with our 5-year employees. The first is Amelia Barnes with Information Technology. Elizabeth Beach, District Attorney's Office. Shamir Carr with the Auditor's Office. Christy Cooper, Public Health. Yay, we got somebody.
Thank you.
Michelle Dobson, District Attorney's Office. Verna Evans, Sheriff Confinement. Wana Garnett, Tax Office. Michael Gage, Sheriff Confinement. Gauze, excuse me. Adam Hanson, Constable Precinct 3. Jana Hicks, Sheriff Confinement. Katrina Jennings, Sheriff Confinement. Katina. Jimmy Kennington, Sheriff Booking. Pamela Lewis Ambrose, Sheriff Confinement. Doroto Martinez, Sheriff Confinement. That's one of those that if it sounds like it, stand up. Louis Norega, Sheriff Confinement. Tanya Parker, Sheriff Confinement. Pamela Price, CSCD. Mary Red Eagle, Tax Office. Craig Rubin, Sheriff Courts. Kelly Rodriguez, Commissioner Precinct 2. She's been working hard this morning. I know she's here. Gregory Tasson, Sheriff Confinement. Jennifer Valentine, Medical Examiner's Office. And Madge Welty, Sheriff Kitchen. These are our 5-year employees. Thank you all very much. Now for our 10-year employees, Peggy Ballou, CCC number 2. Linda Hobson, Information Technology. Jana Johnson, Elections. Gregory Lee, CSCD. Letitia Mendez, County Clerk's Office. Carol Moore, Public Health. Cecilia Puente, CSCD. Susan Russell, District Clerk's Office. Marilyn Thomas, Sheriff Confinement. And these are our 10-year employees. Now for our 15-year employees, Amanda Apollon. Yeah, whatever. What was, say it? Applin. Commissioner Precinct 1. Mario Cantu, Sheriff Booking. Brett Crisp, Sheriff Communications. George Crump, Precinct 1 Maintenance. Krista Gay, CSCD. Susan Haynes, the 236th District Clerk. Susan Holland, Sheriff Confinement. Jenna Mashai, Tax Office. Sorry about that. Robert Miller, Information Technology. Delbert Sanders, Precinct 1 Maintenance. Greg Sumter, Juvenile Services. Diana Terry, Veterans Services. And Ernest Vanderleest, District Attorney's Office. These are our 15-year employees. Let's give it a hand. Now for our 20-year employees, William Bohan, Precinct 2 Maintenance. Nanette Carroll, Information Technology. Michael Clark, Precinct 2 Maintenance. Josie Garcia, Sheriff Booking. Adolfo Gonzalez, CSCD. Tanya Harlan, District Attorney's Office. Billy Miller, Sheriff Confinement. Patricia Shoshid, Auditor's Office. Stephen Stearman, Precinct 2 Maintenance. Laura Wiest, Auditor's Office. And Terry Williams, Sheriff Network Administration. These are our 20-year employees. Let's give them a hand. Now, for our 25 and 30-year plus employees, we take some time and we call and talk with them. But even as we saw in these earlier introductions, this is spring break week, and a lot of people are on vacation. And of the 4 people who we had, 3 that were 25 and 1 that were 30, 3 of them are on vacation this week. Charles Cox, who is in Precinct 4 Maintenance, is out on vacation. Now, I'm going to ask the question because I was a little late in calling these folks, so if somebody happens to show up, we'll have a little dialogue here. I'm assuming Charles Cox is on vacation this week and didn't come.
Spring break.
The next is someone who I believe hopefully is here, Kevin McIntyre with the District Attorney's Office. There's Kevin, 25 years. Kevin's an investigator, started out in the Sheriff's Office and spent about 8 years there, and then moved over in the DA's office and has been there ever since. When I asked him what he liked most, he said, you know, the folks here have always been fair with me, and they've always treated me, treated me very well. Said he actually started when he was 21. When he came here, he really didn't think he was going to be here that long. You know, he recalled that, you know, he would see people who had been there 10 and 15 years and said he couldn't imagine being someplace and being in a job that long. He had been working in construction, and that had actually been what I think, you know, there was kind of a downturn in that area. He had heard that there was an opening here in the county, and he'd come and applied, and he said it's been a great place to work, and he's really enjoyed it. And while he didn't expect to be here this long, he certainly enjoyed his time with the county. And Kevin, I want to tell you, we appreciate very much the 25 years you've given us. Thank you. Next is Suzanne McKenzie, and I know she's on spring break. As I've gone back on these records and looked, what I found is that 3 of the 4 were on spring break 5 years ago and weren't able to make it. Really, 4 of the 4. Because Suzanne, even though I had talked with her, she was on spring break because we didn't meet that first Tuesday in March. So we're going to have to work on this. In fact, I may actually bring those 3 back next month and introduce them at that point in time. And just because we've seeming to catch her on her spring break again. But next week, as she comes back, y'all congratulate her for her 25 years of service. And then the last was Henry Manrique, Transportation Services, for 30 years, also out of town on vacation this week. So again, when you see Henry next week, congratulate him on the 30 years of service. I really do want to thank everyone who we've had a chance to recognize today, and for the years and for the dedication you've had to public service in Tarrant County. I cannot begin to tell you how many times that I will talk with someone and they'll say when they first started they really expected this to kind of be an interim job until they took another one. And they just got here and it began to feel so much like home, and the people were so friendly and they enjoyed the service, the public service that they had an opportunity to do, that they just couldn't imagine being anywhere else. And so we really want to thank each one of y'all for, one, your dedication in staying, but also you're the folks who influence those younger folks as they come in, or those new folks as they come into our particular family. And it really is a family, and it's a family because of folks like you and the work that you do. So, again, thank you for your years of public service. Refreshments back in 504C. And we're going to pause a moment while y'all head back that way. Again, thank you. You know, when you get to be that age, you really don't care what you say. You know. Where'd everybody go? They're back there eating them cookies in 504C. Do we need to receive and file the employee recognition?
Please.
So moved.
Second. A motion is second to receive and file. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Court members, you have before you the consent agenda.
Move approval. Second.
Have a motion is second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Manius?
Thank you, Your Honor. Members of the Court, we have one final item for the Court this morning. Item number 1, we're requesting that the Court approve Amendment number 6 to the Intergovernmental Cooperative Reimbursement Agreement between Tarrant County and the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. This is for both the Local Initiative Program and also the LIRAP program.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion is second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor. Court, we have one item for action today. It's the approval of a contract amendment with Card Trans Incorporated doing business as Certified Payments concerning the convenience charges for the use of the cards. This agreement covers the district clerk, the county clerk, the JPs, and the child support office. Currently, the tax office is a different vendor, and public health uses a different vendor. And this amendment brings the terms of the convenience fee agreements into conformance with the visa regulations and allows each of these officials the option of accepting or not accepting visa for web-based or phone-based transactions, and it eliminates visa transactions from face-to-face, which visa does not allow convenience fees to be charged for those. So this is an amendment that we need to make to bring our credit card agreements in compliance with the operating provisions.
Move approval. Second.
We have a motion is second. Any discussion?
It does
Just-
not. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is there any plan to bring all of our vendors, all of our departments under one vendor?
There's ongoing discussion. There have been presentations by J.P. Morgan that most of the county officials have viewed. At this point, I don't have a complete feedback count on who is interested in changing to the J.P. Morgan Chase platform and those that are happy with what they have.
Would there be advantages to the county from having one vendor instead of three?
That's part of what we're looking at to determine the value. Since the convenience fee transactions are going to be somewhat dependent on the individual office holder's volume of transactions, it, in some instances, to go to to J.P. Morgan's platform, for instance, may raise the convenience fees above what they're currently, some of them are experiencing with certified payments. So there are a number of issues that have to be weighed, including the technology issues. Depending on which vendors are selected, there may be a different technology need for network drops versus different ways to access the credit card use. So this action basically is needed to bring us in compliance operationally now, and there is an ongoing effort to evaluate the possibility of bringing everybody under or giving everyone the option of operating under a combined single platform.
Thank you.
I'm good.
Okay, I want to be sure I understand. You mentioned that the convenience fee would be charged on everything other than the face-to-face?
The visa regulations do not allow convenience fees to be added to a transaction where the card is present. So if you go to the county clerk's office, the district clerk's office, the JP's office, and have your credit card as a Visa card, by regulation, operating regulations, Visa does not allow a convenience charge to be added.
So that means that if our fee is $100,
We don't get $100. We get something less than that if we accept Visa.
And so why,
We're not accepting Visa.
that's the question. So we're not,
This,
this does not approve us taking anything less than what
that's correct.
our full fee is.
That's correct. Right. So we, by the amendment of the contract, Visa cards will not be allowed to conduct a transaction in someone's office, a face-to-face transaction. It's just not accepted.
So
The
they'll have to
MasterCard,
walk
Discover,
over-
American Express,
They'll have to walk over to the ATM, get their cash, come back and pay with cash at that point in time. Because we have.
or
the
pay over the
ATM.
internet, or a phone transaction if that's something that the office allows.
Okay.
They could go to a phone.
Come on up here if you're going to talk. Don't talk back here.
They could go to a phone and do an IVR transaction, either off of their phone or we have a convenience phone, but it is a very great burden on our customers. We do 2-to-1 Visa over MasterCard. So it was a real,
Maybe Visa will rethink their rules.
we certainly hope so. I'm still taking them on IVRs and online.
Okay.
And that is allowed as one of the options of the contract. And there have been extensive conversations with Visa, and they're fairly adamant that they just don't want their customers to be charged a convenience fee for a face-to-face transaction. They seem to be pretty steadfast in holding to that. So
Well, I think we're probably equally adamant that we're not. gonna do
we
this.
can't do it. So this just brings us into agreement with the terms of the operating agreement. So
Okay. Any other questions or discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Obviously, the attorney's office is up next.
Judge Whitley, members of the court, the district attorney asks that this honorable court accept a check in the amount of $17,149.48 in full settlement of the county's workers' compensation subrogation interest in this case.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Here this morning to request the court approve changes to voting precinct boundaries. We have worked on voting precinct boundaries several times this year. We're hoping that the third time is the charm. We've not submitted the other plans to the court, but it's a function that our office has to do and that we need a court approval for after redistricting to make sure that each voting precinct only has one congressional district, Senate district, House district, county commissioner precinct, all the way down to city council district in our larger cities. We also have moved to eliminate some smaller precincts and try to get rid of all of the ones that we could that had no registered voters. But most of the changes are necessary because of redistricting. So we are adding a net of 25 precincts, which doesn't sound like much, but we're actually eliminating or proposing elimination of 86 voting precincts and the creation of 111 precincts in this plan. A total of 244 of our current precincts required some kind of a boundary change because of all this. So it is quite a change.
How many total precincts do we have?
We will go from 650 to 675.
And this will bring us into accord with the district lines, the interim district lines that were issued by the San Antonio court.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Interim meaning we're probably going to have to do this again.
Good chance that the legislature will revisit redistricting next session.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Steve, I want you to be sure and tell your staff and you, I want to tell you how much I appreciate, and I know this court appreciates, how quickly you've reacted and how available you have been to folks as they've asked questions. I know you were also very much a part of working with the state and making sure that the timeline was set in an effort to allow and to make sure that we were able to to meet the deadlines that they were putting in place. And so I just appreciate all your work to get to the point of the new lines, and then I appreciate everything you and your staff have done to get this to us so quickly. It's no small task, and I appreciate very much, and I know the court does, everything that you've done.
Well, Judge, thank you very much. I do have a terrific staff. In fact, I'd like to introduce Jana Johnson to you, who will be our new Assistant Elections Administrator.
Welcome.
Now, Gail kind of just said, look at this, and says, I'm going.
Jana got her 10-year award today, but she's actually been with our office almost 20 years, counting her time as a temp over the years.
Sorry about that.
Steve, before you go, there has been an email circulating through many of our communities advising people that because their voter registration card expired December 31st, 2011, that they're going to have to re-register in order to vote in the primaries. For the record, would you clear that up?
Yes, sir. I'll be glad to, and I'm glad you brought that up. We have heard a number of reports of that, and I've heard from my colleagues around the state that it's gone around statewide. But these emails are informing voters erroneously that they need to re-register because their cards are expired. It's true that the cards issued in previous years have expired. The renewal cards have been delayed statewide because of the redistricting changes. We needed to wait until the lines were finalized before we can mail out the new voter registration cards. We anticipate mailing the new voter registration cards to all registered voters around mid-April, second or third week in April. But I appreciate you bringing that up. Although the card is expired, your registration never expires.
So the point is that a voter who has not moved or changed his or her name doesn't have to do anything.
That's correct.
The card will come in the mail.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
And it will be yellow.
Yellow, yes, sir. Good through the end of 2013. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Glenn.
Move to receive and file personnel agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file personnel agenda. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Item number 2.
Thank you. Item number 2, we're asking the court to approve the new hire end rate for 4 mechanic jobs, which includes all of the precincts and transportation services. The current hire end rate, as the court is aware, is minimum plus 10%. This change would move the hire end to minimum plus 20%.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 3, we're asking the court to approve revisions to the table of organization to reclassify a property tax supervisor position in the tax office. The tax office has been looking at its delinquent collection section, and Mr. Wright believes that it's in the best interest of the department to downgrade, if I can say that, a property tax supervisor, which is a pay grade 17, to a property tax specialist, which is a pay grade 16. It is a vacant position, so obviously no one will be impacted by this change.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 4, we're asking the court to approve a waiver of terminal benefits for elections. As Steve just mentioned, Ms. Hamilton, of course, retired at the end of February. She did have some vacation time. We're asking for a waiver of 328 vacation hours. The fiscal impact we're estimating to be a little bit more than $2,400 when you consider the actual cost of the waiver and that being offset by salary savings.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our 5th and final item, we're asking the court to approve another waiver of terminal benefits. This is for JP3. Judge Casey is requesting this waiver for an admin clerk who's going to be leaving, I believe, in the next couple of days with 158 vacation hours. The judge actually has one other vacancy, so this would be actually 2 vacancies that the department's going to have to deal with, thus the request for the waiver. The costs to the general fund we're estimating to be about $2,500. We may actually offset it with salary savings. We don't know that at this time. They've not selected a replacement.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Beecham.
Good morning.
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 Good morning.
I did see Kentucky in the men's bracketology. I don't think I saw LSU.
Or
TC.
Arkansas?
Well, we're the number 1 seed at the Benbrook YMCA tournament Saturday.
Well, I just want to be sure. I
Our women's team, though, however, play in College Station Saturday, which means somebody will sell a lot of pulled pork sandwiches. But we have 4 items for your consideration this morning. Our first item is a bid award recommendation for bid number 2012-054. This is a bid for the Calhoun Garage lighting upgrade to LED lighting. A recommendation will be toward the low bidder, Facility Solutions Group, the amount of $116,456.51.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Second item is an item for RFQ number 2012-051. This is an RFQ for request for qualification for environmental consulting services. Our recommendation would be to seek permission from the court to conduct negotiations with the four firms as shown in your court communique.
Move for approval.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Item number 3 is an item in regards to bid number 2012-055. This is a bid that was for Robertson Road improvements for concrete services. We are recommending rejection of all bids and seeking permission to rebid for revised specifications due to the fact that it was over budget.
Jack, why did we have to bid that when we had a price cheaper than concrete is going for?
The rejection was requested by, as I remember, from Pat Howell because it was over.
No, I'm not talking about the bids. I'm talking about we had an offer to do this project for like $20,000 less than your lowest bid came in. And we were told we had to bid it. Is that state law?
Anytime it's over $50,000, that's a state bid requirement. We felt like, as I remember, to give all the other vendors an opportunity. It was a quote, and they were included.
So what it amounts to is that going out for bids to meet state law cost us $20,000+, maybe more. We don't know yet. Okay, move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our last item is item in regards to bid number 2012-057. This is an annual contract for the ME's office for the transportation of human remains. We are recommending rejection of all bids and seeking permission to rebid with revised specifications.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
I would note that LSU's women are rated number 5 and Arkansas number 6. Just a point of interest.
He just Googled.
Moving right along to the next.
Can I share
the Sheriff's Department.
Moving right along.
Next week, no. Next week you can come in here and we'll talk about it then.
This is business, though. It really is. But I'll sit down. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sheriff's Department is coming before the court today to request court's authorization to apply for funding from the Tarrant County 911 District under the Public Safety Answering Point Assistance Program. This is the third year we've participated in this program. This is a reimbursement grant with no match required.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Y'all tag teaming this today.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Different players. Good morning. The Sheriff's Office also brings before you for your approval a task force agreement that actually formally establishes the Tarrant County Emissions Enforcement Task Force and its Board of Governors. And this is in fulfillment of the requirements of the local initiative project that we have approved by you all, and as well as the TCEQ for the operation of that task force. The task force Board of Governors consists of a designee from this group, from the court here. This document appoints, with your authority, the county administrator as your designee. And also, the sheriff is also the chairman of the Board of Governors, and the district attorney is also. This is the founding group. As this group expands, much like the Auto Crimes Task Force, we expect to be adding on some local police agencies as well.
Move approval.
Second.
A motion is second. Any discussion?
Do we have an audience participation formula?
Still on that item? Do what? Doesn't have anything to do with this item.
Okay,
It's this item.
it's a different item. That's all right, because yours doesn't indicate what the thing was. Any other discussion? Bobby, this isn't what you're wanting to talk about, is it? It is. Okay, well, I'm sorry, we just got the first one. Thank you, Mr. Mangus, because I guess what happened was first, come on down and talk about it. He's got two. So.
What's the other?
Judge Whitley, Commissioners, as y'all may remember, 2 years ago, the Law Enforcement Association, along with the constables' offices, came to you to get y'all's approval to look at this grant and to act on it rather than give it to municipalities. And along the way, we suggested that the Sheriff's Office handle the covert operations, and the Constable's deputies, along with the Sheriff's Office deputies, be allowed to handle traffic enforcement overtime initiatives in cooperation with this program. And along the way, the constables, as well as the Law Enforcement Association, have kind of been uninformed of meetings and other actions being taken to follow along with this program. And so I come before you today to ask that when you're considering this Board of Governors, that you look at placing a constable or one of their representatives on this board, as well as a member from the TCLEA on the board, so that we can have a little bit more oversight and make sure that everybody is being allowed to participate, and that the functions of everybody are being carried out in due diligence. I mean, we've already seen that this task force is beneficial to the county in some of the operations that have already been carried out. And we just don't want the constables or our members who should be able to take advantage of this in an overtime initiative to help this task force do their job and prevent the crime that's going on in Tarrant County. So we just ask that you consider that, and thank you for your time.
I don't have a problem with what Bobby is suggesting. I recall a couple of years ago when the constable's office brought this issue to this court. And I'm a little dismayed that we're just now hearing about the fact that the process had in some ways broken down.
Any response?
I would offer that this is, again, just the founding of this task force. The founding members are the original individuals or entities that signed the contract.
Well,
And
I
that is-
understand that, but from the very get-go, the constables and I think the Law Enforcement Association were pushing this to the reluctance of others in maybe some instances, so.
And I wouldn't disagree. I would just say that would be a decision that the Board of Governors here, that we're
We're
trying to
establishing
create.
the Board of Governors.
Correct. And that's what I would offer is in their initial meeting, in the addition of new governors to the board, that the founding board could do that.
Well, why can't we do that as we set up the initial board?
We could certainly, I guess, pull this and start over.
I'm not saying start over, I'm just saying that maybe we increase the board to include.
If you want to include a representative from the constable's office on the board, you can do that through this motion. You can simply amend the contract, approve the contract with one amendment to include a representative from the constable's office as a
And the
member of the board.
TCLEA.
That's what I would suggest.
Well, we need a list of who's on the board now.
The board now is the sheriff, GK, and
The district attorney.
District attorney. So we have three right now. That's what they're proposing by this resolution.
Right.
So what I might suggest is that we add a designee from the law enforcement, Tarrant County Law Enforcement Group, as well as one of the constables.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Skinner.
Morning, members of the court. We have two items for you this morning. We are requesting the court's approval of a memorandum of understanding with the City of Benbrook, Texas Department of Transportation, and the Regional Transportation Council related to improvements to US 377.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
In a related item, we are requesting the court's approval of the resolution in order decreeing public necessity for the widening of US 377 from Winscott to Interstate 20.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Randy, have you figured out how we're going to get some of that $2 billion from TxDOT?
Well, I understand that that's a conversation that we're having with the Council of Government staff. We're trying to look into ways that they can be facilitated.
You won't forget our conversation on the project? I was
Certainly
asking
not.
about.
We'll certainly pursue.
Highway 26?
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson, I believe you have an.
We don't need all that money.
Move approval of item 9P, 1A and B.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have, under appointments, I would like to move that we reappoint Commissioner Johnson to the Bail Bonds Board.
Second.
We have already taken that action under our section that we did both.
Under consent agenda. We did.
Oh, we did?
Yes,
Today?
we did. Yes, sir, we did.
Molly Jones, too? I guess I
Yes.
missed it.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Under consent?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
But we do have appointments that you need to make.
I do need to make some appointments to TIF number 4 and 6. I'd like to appoint Steve Townsend to replace John Ed Robbins.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. That other motion and second that we had a few minutes ago went away. This motion and the second is to TIF 4 and 6.
4 and 6.
Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Also, I want to appoint Steve Townsend to the Regional Coordination Committee for the Joint Reserve Base and to replace John Ed Robbins.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
I think that's all I have.
Okay. Any other appointments at this time? You have before you the claims, including the addendum.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to to approve the claims, including the addendum. Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Briefing items, Mr. Mayes?
Your Honor, we do not have any items at this time.
Then we will recess our open meeting and proceed to close to discuss items. Whoops.
Bobby, we do have something else.
We got to go.
Bobby, come on back.
Thank you again. As y'all know, the past 3 years, the Law Enforcement Association has not came to y'all with any kind of pay proposal or request for salary structure adjustments or unfreezing the pay steps for law enforcement. And while we are not sure what the economy is doing, our members are wanting to do some kind of salary proposal, and in lieu of that, I believe it was 4 years ago, we had a law enforcement salary committee. I know Commissioner Johnson sat on that, and I feel like we accomplished a lot of good things out of that. And there's a lot of issues we can look at, no matter what the economy is doing, whether it's good or bad, that I think we, as a committee, could address. And I'd like to request for the court to consider reinstituting that salary committee and just to look at the issues, not necessarily, to agree that there's going to be another structure adjustment this year or what might happen with the budget, but just to look at the issues. And so I just wanted to come to the court today and ask that y'all would consider that. I know this is not the time to vote on something like that from a public request form, but I wanted to talk to you about it. And I thank you for your time and all you do for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby. As you've already stated, because it's not on the item, on the agenda today, we can't talk about it. But I think we appreciate your comments and take that into consideration. We'll now recess our open session and proceed to discuss items exempted under 551.071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code. Having returned from our closed session and there being no business to conduct at this time, we are adjourned.